Well, it looks like those two old buddies, Rocky and Bullwinkle, will never get together again, for Rocky is adrift in a life raft with Captain Peter Wrongway Peachfuzz,
sailing eastward into the sunset.
Oh, boy.
while Bullwinkle Moose is miles away on the tiny island of New Greenpernt, talking to its king, Bushwick the 33rd.
The 33rd.
Oh, pardon, toity-toit. The king had just told Bullwinkle about the fabulous Oogle bird, which lays only one egg a month. But what an egg that is. Each one contains a fortune that foretells the future. For instance, some years ago, an Oogle egg said,
If you want to make some moolah, manufacture hoops that hula.
as a result, kids all over the world bought hula hoops stamped made in New Greenpernt. Another time, an Oogle bird fortune read,
Make a flag and don't be late with 50 stars, not 48.
So when Alaska and Hawaii were given statehood, the happy citizens waved brand new flags marked Made in New Greenpernt. Of course, the Oogle bird also gave out some other interesting predictions, too.
Next Friday, when the game is through, Yankees 7, Boston 2. Bet your shirt on Noah's Ark, running in the 5th at Belmont Park.
And as a result of wise investment based on the Oogle bird's information, the little island of New Greenpernt became fabulously wealthy. There were 2 chickens in every pot and 2 cars in every garage, even in garages meant for just 1 car. Ah, but that was last year. Today, everything is different. The people are poor. They don't have 2 cars in every garage. They don't have 2 chickens in every pot.
We don't even have a pot. And a widow master, we're facing disaster.
Well, that's terrible. What happened?
Somebody stole the Oogle bird.
Somebody stole the Oogle bird.
Look through these here binoculars, so wise. One of the Oogle bird's nest is empty.
Maybe it flew away.
Oogle birds can't fly.
Then maybe it walked.
Was stolen.
Yeah, I see your point.
And so because of your predictory bunion, source of all knowledge, you are not a substitute wizard of New Greenpernt.
I am, huh? Well, I guess I got something to say about that.
And what do you say?
I say I'm the substitute wizard of New Greenpernt.
And so a short while later, high atop Mount Pitkin, Bullwinkle reposed in the Oogle bird's nest with a pad and pencil.
But really, my bunion just gives the weather for...
We'll be back soon, old lamp of knowledge. You better get with it.
Or what?
Or else...
So as night fell over Mount Pitkin, Bullwinkle tried desperately to peer into the future. But the only picture he could see didn't help him a bit.
Gee, I can't even remember what day tomorrow's gonna be.
Meanwhile, miles away, Rocky and Captain Peachfuzz were paddling aimlessly until the sharp-eyed squirrel spotted a dark shape through the gloom.
Captain, look there.
Bless Bess, Rocky. It's an island.
Yes, through a completely outrageous stroke of fortune, the tiny life raft was drifting right by the island of New Greenpernt.
Come on, Captain. Let's paddle.
And our friends paddled with might and main for hours. But when dawn broke over the ocean, the island was no nearer.
What do you suppose is the matter, Rocky?
Well, for one thing, you've been paddling with the wrong end of the paddle.
Oh.
And for another, the current is against us now.
It was true the ocean current that had carried the raft toward the island was now carrying it farther and farther away. Well, be with us next time for Riptide Rocky or Drips Adrift.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful, beautiful queen.
Flatterer.
She was lovely, but the wickedest woman in the world, a fiend in human form.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Each morning, she would go to her mirror for advice. It was a very special mirror. It gave not only advice, but also music, news, the weather, and stock reports.
Amalgamated dragon, off an 8th. Fairy godmother common, up a quarter.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is fairest of them all?
The fairest of them all is Snow White.
Snow White. Oh, that is disappointing. Now I'll have to do away with her.
And the Queen went to the office of the Witch Pack Company, of which she was the owner.
Let's see now. Which pack poison prunes? Which pack poison strawberries? Which pack sleeping death apples? That's it! I'll give her the $4.95 apple assortment.
But at that very moment, Snow White was hard at work in her office.
Consolidated Dwarf, Snow White speaking. Right. 27 dwarfs, North Pole. Right away. Thank you, Mr. Claus. All right, you. Let's try it again. Way down upon the Swanee River.
I just can't do it, boss. I'm not a child star. I'm a dwarf.
Yeah, but child stars make a fortune.
Look, I'm 47 years old. I got a wife and 3 kids in Kansas City.
With those curls, who's gonna know? Get to the studio right away.
Okay, boss.
And don't forget to shave. Come in. Seems I can hardly keep the little beggars in stock these days.
Are you Snow White?
Right? How many do you want?
How many what?
Dwarfs, of course. Let's see. 27 to the North Pole, at least 7. 7 dwarfs is all I have left.
I don't want any dwarfs.
Well, we discontinued our giant line, you know. Too much overhead.
No. I just brought you a little gift from the Witch Pack Company.
Apples. My, they are tasty.
Yes, eat one and you'll just die for more.
Well, if you ship prepaid, I'll take...
Now we'll see who's fairest of them all.
And the Queen dashed off, leaving Snow White in a state of sleeping death.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is fairest of them all?
Don't you want the word on local news?
No.
How about the weather, your favorite waltz?
Come on now, who's the fairest?
Like I told you, Snow White.
What?
But you're the prettiest.
But you just said...
I said Snow White was the fairest. She never lies, cheats, or steals. Now, what could be fairer than that?
Oh, my. I've made a terrible mistake.
And now the latest in stock market quotations. Minnesota mowed down, Drawbridge Company up, Consolidated Dwarf
Yes.
down 500 points.
500 points. Then I'm wiped out. I'm destroyed.
Yes. By putting Snow White to sleep, the wicked Queen had ruined a company in which she was the major stockholder.
All because I used witchcraft. Well, I'll never use it again. Never!
And with that, the Queen got rid of the entire stock.
Now to wake up Snow White and get Consolidated Dwarf back on its feet. Let's see. Powdered bat toenails, 2 cups spider venom. No more witchcraft. For those who have sworn off witchcraft, get 1 prince to kiss the victim. A prince! That's it!
In a few moments, the Queen was in the prince's chambers.
Kiss a victim of sleeping death. Well, let's see what the rate is.
Rate?
Oh, yes. You see, we charming princes have to make a living, you know. Let's see. That'll be 2 million gold grickles.
Too much.
I can hold her hand for 1 million.
No, you have to kiss her.
Then it's 2 million. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it.
Wait, I'll get my bag. These house calls are such a nuisance.
In a little while, the prince was at Snow White's door.
Where's the lady of the house, my little man?
Over there.
I won't be a minute.
What kept you? I've been lying here for hours.
Cool it. She fell for it. We're rich.
Oh, where am I?
Hooray! Now my stock will go up. Thanks ever so, Your Highness.
It was nothing.
Nothing.
Well, ta-ta! I've got to go hear the ball game on my mirror.
Well, here comes the happy ending. The Queen was a better woman for having given up witchcraft, Consolidated Dwarf was back in business, and the Prince and Snow White were rich.
Let's see the money, honey.
Well, there isn't any. I used it to make a sensational deal.
Like what?
I bought 5,000 shares of a new company called Witch Pack. Here, have some apricots. I just ate all the apples.
When we left Rocky and Captain Peach Fuzz last time, they were desperately paddling against the tide, trying to reach the tiny island of New Greenpernt.
It's no use. We're drifting farther away, Captain.
And look, I've worked so hard my little paddle is worn to a nubbin.
Well, maybe if we had a mast with a sail on it, we could make some headway.
Well, we're in luck, Rocky. There's a mast in one of these compartments here.
Well, let's get it out.
Seems to be stuck, but I'll get it.
Attaboy, Captain.
Little did Rocky know that the handle Captain Peach Fuzz was tugging was in reality an underwater plug that would deflate and sink their life raft in a matter of seconds.
I think it's coming out now, Rocky.
Meanwhile, on a mountaintop high above New Greenpernt, Bullwinkle had just shivered through a long, cold night. Suddenly the phone rang and Bullwinkle answered it.
Hello, this is the substitute wizard of New Greenpernt speaking.
Hello, great encyclopedia. This is King Bushwick. You got a prediction ready for us?
I've been trying to tell you, King. My bunion just predicts the weather.
Well, if that's all the better you can do, let's have it.
Well, let's see. My bunion says today fair and warmer with lots of sunshine.
And of course, Bullwinkle's bunion was right as far as it went. High on his mountaintop, it was warm and sunny. But at the lower altitudes of New Greenpernt, things looked a little different.
Hey, you out of your skull, Wiz? It's raining cats and dogs down here.
Well, what do you think of that?
I think we're due to get a new wizard very soon. Go get him, Perona.
And the giant headsman started off on his grim mission. Meanwhile, back in the shark-infested waters, Captain Peach Fuzz was still struggling with the handle of the life raft.
Are you sure it's the right handle, Captain?
Certainly, Rocky. It says right here, danger, deflating plug. See?
Put it back in, Captain.
Too late, for at that instant...
Hang on, Rocky. We're moving.
Sure enough, the jet of escaping air was driving the life raft through the water faster and faster until, just as the last bit of air left it, the deflated raft beached itself on the shores of New Greenpernt.
Well, Captain, you lucked in again.
Embarrassing, isn't it?
And look, I guess the natives saw us coming. Looks like they're throwing a party.
Sure enough, it did look like a festive occasion. Everybody was wearing funny hats and broad grins, all except for the guest of honor.
I'm kind of glad you didn't work out, Wiz. We haven't had a beach party for months.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Smile, Cookie.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be a wet blanket.
Hokey smoke, Captain, that's Bullwinkle. We gotta save him.
But we're outnumbered 100 to 1.
Yeah, well, we do.
We'll use tragedy, is what?
What do you have in mind?
You sneak around and get ready to cut Bullwinkle loose.
Yeah?
I'll get a big club and charge right at him. In the confusion, you should be able to get away.
Yeah, but how about you, Captain? They'll capture you then.
Oh, I hadn't figured that part of it. Well, let's do it anyway.
Gee, you're brave, Captain.
Not really. I just can't think of anything else.
And so Rocky crept up close to Bullwinkle and prepared to cut him loose. The captain seized a large club and with a shout of...
Charge!
Ran right into a tree, knocking himself unconscious. In a twinkling, all three of our friends were bound tightly.
Hey, something new, fellas. We're going to have a triple feature. 2 main attractions and 1 short subject.
Well, how will our heroes escape this deadly trap?
Gee, I'm scared.
Oh, I'll think of something, Rocky.
That's what I'm scared of.
Be with us tomorrow for Blood and Sand or 3 for the show.
For all you wise men who wish to become wiser, here is Mr. Know-It-All.
Hello, wise guys. Today's dissertation is provocatively subtitled, How to Remove a Mustache Without Getting Any Lip. Now, you can't shave a mustache unless you have a mustache.
Yes, sir. What can I do for you?
I would like a mustache to go.
Which kind you prefer, the $1,000 type or the $999 type?
Actually, I'd like something right in the middle. Say around $1.50.
I'm sorry, but we only sell expensive mustaches.
As you can see, the average mustache remover is bound to run into an occasional obstacle.
Yes, sir.
I'd like a loan.
Any collateral?
What'll you give me for a flying squirrel?
Say around $1,000.
Just what I need. Where do I sign?
This is a stick-up.
Doggone pen. Doesn't want to give any ink. Oh, sorry about that, sir. Here, let me hold your gun. Sometimes the average mustache remover encounters lots of obstacles. But, Your Highness, this is all a mistake.
99 years. Take them away.
And so it is with deep regrets I am unable to tell you how to remove
Mr. Know-It-All, your lip! You've grown a mustache!
I have! Quick, I just have time to remove it! Hand me my miracle mustache remover!
But that isn't...
We liberally sprinkle all exposed areas with this...
But it isn't mustache remover!
No? What is it?
Vanishing cream!
Now he tells me...
Hello again. Peabody, Sherman, and Wayback here. Today we shall be on hand for that historic moment when man first swam the English Channel. Sherman?
Yes, Mr. Peabody.
Set the way back for the coast of England.
And the date?
August 24th, 1875. A fateful day in the life of Captain Matthew Clift. It took but a fraction of a second for the Wayback Machine to transport us to our destination, and there, on a strip of sandy beach, stood the athletic-looking Captain Clift.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks ever so much for coming down to see me off.
And with that, he dived into the sea, but not for long. Rising to his feet, the good captain threw a game smile at his well-wishers and endeavored to try again, but with the same results.
Gad, that's the most obstinate water I've ever run into, or out of.
What seems to be the trouble, Captain?
I don't know. I dive in, but I never stay there.
It was then I noticed his body was generously coated with grease.
I wear the grease to keep out the chill of the sea.
Yes, but you have so much on that you keep slipping out of the water. We scraped the excess grease off, and this time the captain's attempt was successful. Or at least it seemed to be.
Help!
He's in trouble, Mr. Peabody.
I thought he would be. In a flash, we launched a small dinghy and were soon at the captain's side.
What's wrong, Captain?
I'm afraid I can't make it.
Why not?
Well, there are 3 reasons. 1, the channel is 19 miles wide, a rather large distance. And 2, the water is frightfully cold.
What's the third reason?
I can't swim.
We hauled the struggling athlete aboard and bundled him in a warm blanket.
I know what you're thinking. I was a fool to even attempt it.
Why did you?
Well, the plumbing's gone bad at home. I haven't had a bath in a week.
Would you try it again if you could swim?
Why, yes, I suppose so.
Swell. Then Mr. Peabody will teach you.
We started out with the dog paddle, naturally, and after that the Australian crawl. By 3 that afternoon, Captain Clift was thoroughly amphibious.
How do you feel, Captain?
Well, outside of a little water on the knee, I feel absolutely wizard.
And so saying, Captain Matthew Clift struck out for the coast of France, 19 miles away. I thought it best that Sherman and I accompany him, and a good thing we did, too, for when he was halfway across, the fog closed in.
These are terrible conditions for the captain.
Oh, I don't know. Being English, I rather imagine he feels quite at home in the fog.
Listen, Mr. Peabody, waves crashing on the beach. He did it. He's made it to shore.
Captain Clift had made it to shore, all right. Unfortunately, when the fog dissipated the next morning, it wasn't the French shore, but the English.
Good heavens! Do you mean to say we're back where we started from?
I'm afraid so. You see, you must have got turned round in the fog, and we merely followed your course.
I see. Well, cheerio, chaps. I'm off to bed.
Wait, Captain, you can't give up now.
Why not? This seems like a glorious time to give up.
Sherman is right, you know. How would it look for a Britisher to not conquer the English Channel?
I don't care how it looks. I'm going home and brew some tea.
The word tea gave me a sudden idea. Quick, Sherman, fetch a tea bag and a fishing pole while I detain the captain. Like a shot, Sherman was off, and shortly thereafter returned with what I had requested.
Are you going to try to catch fish, Mr. Peabody?
No, not fish, Sherman. An Englishman. I dangled the tea bag in front of the good captain, and true to his upbringing, the tantalizing aspect of tea drove him wild.
By Jove, I must have that.
Then swim for it. With Sherman at the oars, we led the captain a merry chase, a chase that spanned 19 miles. Yes, at dawn the following day, Captain Matthew Clift staggered out of the sea onto the French shore, in his hands a rather soggy tea bag.
A pot! My kingdom for a pot!
What a tremendous feat, Mr. Peabody. He swam the English Channel.
Yes, he did, Sherman.
But he sure looks awful. Think he'll be all right?
Oh, I'm sure of it. It's merely a slight case of exhaustion.
But look how white he is.
Well, it's fortunate that he is. Otherwise, England might be minus one of her famous landmarks.
Captain Clift, a landmark?
Why, of course, Sherman. He comes from Dover, you know, and surely you've heard of the White Cliffs of Dover? Hmm?
on the tiny island of New Greenpernt, Rocky and Bullwinkle have finally had a grand reunion, thanks to a plan of Captain Peachfuzz's, which, of course, turned out the wrong way. Now they're all tied tightly and at the mercy of King Bushwick the 33rd. 33rd. Our friends are guests of honor at a New Greenpernt block party.
Only question is who goes to the block first.
But why execute us?
Because your friends are his.
Well, what did Bullwinkle do?
Nothing, that's what I did.
That's just it. He was our substitute wizard, see?
Bullwinkle, a wizard?
On account of my weather forecasting bunion, Rocky.
But as a substitute for an Oogle bird, he's a terrible flop. And our law says there's only one punishment for a wizard who don't whiz.
Bullwinkle was substitute for an Oogle bird?
Of course.
And Bushwick told Rocky and the captain about the legendary Oogle bird who sat on a mountaintop and laid eggs containing fantastic predictions.
Los Angeles is full of sorrow. Dodgers lose again tomorrow.
What happened to the Oogle bird?
It was stolen. Okay, Peruna, let's get going.
Now, wait!
And remember, keep your left arm straight and a backswing.
Hey!
That'll correct your tendency to slice.
Hey, Your Majesty, if we could find your Oogle bird, would you let us go?
Of course, naturally, but how are you going to do that?
Just follow the tracks.
Tracks? What tracks?
Those tracks.
Yes, the sharp-eyed squirrel had spotted some strange-looking tracks on the beach, but Bushwick didn't seem to care, for he turned to the headsman and said,
Okay, Peruna, like swing.
And as our friends cowered in mortal fear, the headsman swung his mighty blade.
Are you all right, Bullwinkle?
So far, yeah, but I'm kind of scared to nod my head.
Well, what are you guys waiting for? Come on.
Yes, the headsman's stroke had been intended merely to cut their bonds, and in a moment our friends were on the beach staring at the strange tracks.
As far as I can figure, these are the tracks of 2 Oogle birds, Your Majesty.
2? Impossible, Jack.
Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky. There's only one Oogle bird in the world.
I don't care. There's 2 sets of tracks, and they lead right to the water's edge.
Oh, the poor bird.
What's the matter?
Oogles can't swim. It's a goner. Well, back to the steak, you guys.
Wait a minute. Maybe the Oogle was bird-napped.
Bird-napped? What, by another Oogle bird?
No, bird-napped by somebody disguised as another Oogle bird. Somebody who would use his fortune-telling powers for evil purposes.
Oh, come now, little friend. There's nobody in the world that nasty.
Little does King Bushwick know, for at that moment, high atop an island far away, the Oogle bird is chained to a nest, forced to turn out predictions for his captor. And who is the fiend responsible for all this? Who is the low-down no-good-nick who could carry out such a dastardly scheme?
Hello again, crime fans everywhere.
It is Boris Badenov, world's meanest villain.
Plus, at no additional charge, my partner in crime, Natasha Fatal. What does Ladies Oogle Egg says, Natasha?
Oh, Boris, this is terrible.
So read already.
The Oogle bird says, "Happy day, Rocky Squirrel is on the way."
Raskolnikov is nowhere in whole world we don't run into that busybody.
Where we go now, darling?
Go! Bah! Don't be silly, Natasha. We stay and give Squirrel royal welcome.
Royal welcome?
21 guns.
And pressing a button, Boris unmasked a battery of cannons, all pointing out to sea and right at our approaching heroes. Don't miss our next exciting episode, Bullwinkle's Landing or Muscle Beach.